Okay, right, so excuse the sun. So today I'm going to do something completely different. I'm going to, oh my goodness me, how do I get you alone? I'm going to shuffle every single pack of cards while I'm chatting to you. And then I'm going to just take one card off the top and see if we can get a picture of what's going on in the collective. But today I've got there's so many reunions happening. It's really, really exciting. And today I have another couple of twins who have recently come into reunion. And I'm just going to do a little reading on them. And I've got this lovely image of them where the feminine is like a cat. Whoa! It is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. Beautiful. So the feminine is like a cat and the masculine is like a dog, right? And you know when you get these dogs and they're like slavering, they've got a big tongue hanging out and they're all slavery and like they see you and they come bounding over and they just kind of like knock you over. It's that kind of dog, you know, like really, really enthusiastic. Like the sort of dog that if he went out on a family trip or something, he's going to stick his head out the window just to get the wind in his face. That's the sort of dog that this divine masculine is. And the feminine is quite almost aloof. She's quite like, you know, she likes to sort of sit in high places, you know, look down and she's very kind of sophisticated, and she's sort of, you know, she'll go out, she'll kill a mouse, you know, and they'll leave its guts on the doorstep for the family, but you know, sort of she just looks after herself. She's a law unto herself, you know, and whereas the masculine is this kind of really bouncy puppy full of enthusiasm, especially for his feminine. And yeah, so they've just come into union. Quite an unlikely pair, you know, because they're so different. But I'm really feeling the energy of them. You know, I'm really feeling that kind of boundlessness that this dog has got. He's got so much energy. You know, those dogs that doesn't matter how much you walk them, they just won't settle. They're just so full of energy. And yeah, and so that's the kind of energy that this masculine has. So let's see if we can get anything on the feminine. This is the Divine Feminine deck. So let's see if we can get anything on this Divine Feminine, who's the sort of cat-like Divine Feminine. Let's see if we've got anything in here about her. Woo! All right. I am blessed. My courage give birth to the divine. Okay, yeah. So you know, like that's a really good example of, you know, when you get a cat and it almost is like it's got a crown on. You know, it's like royalty, you know, these cats that behave like royalty. Well, that's what she's like. Whereas the masculine is much more kind of like this kind of disruptive dog that just kind of spreads mud everywhere, hairs everywhere, you know, that kind of thing. And yeah, but you know, it's a funny thing because yet they're still, you know, very much in love, even though there's like a cat and a dog, and you think, oh, cats and dogs don't get on, but they actually really do, and they're very kind of creative, this couple, and they love doing things together. You know, they love putting the effort in together. They don't want to just sit around. Like, although the feminine is quite, you know, cat-like, and she's quite sort of. See, look, there's the dog, right? Very loyal to his feminine, you know. And look at him; he's got this face of kind of like, that's my feminine, you know. He's like quite proud, you know. He's quite, and I'm seeing that it's like the wagging tail, you know, and the kind of that kind of thing. Whereas the feminine is kind of more like, now we're just going to be very poised and we're going to be very deliberate in our movements and we're going to be listening to important messages, whereas he's much more kind of bouncy and that kind of thing. So let's see if we can and they've really gone through this massive transformation, coming out of the darkness and into the light together. You know, this is the kind of journey that they've been on. They've had a heck of a time, this couple. You know, they've been like, oh my God, when's this going to be over, kind of thing. But yeah, you see, that's them. You can see there that's them in union, and so just like that, it's like they've got all this emotion that just pours out, but they've also they know that there's work to do as well, kind of thing. So they're not facing each other too much because They've got a mission that they're on, kind of thing. But you can see how much emotion they've got, sort of secretly at least. And then they've got this kind of understanding. See, the starfish. Stars often mean a wound, and they've got this kind of mutual wounding that they've been healing. And they've been doing a lot of healing. That's a lot of emotion around them and a lot of healing happening. And so they've got this kind of understanding that's emerged from it. And they're sort of like drinking the waters of that healing, and just in a better place, kind of energetically. Going beyond the normal, absolutely. So yeah, just that kind of time has been a really big factor for them, and they've got so many ideas. It's like the ideas just never ever stop between them, because they come together and there's so many ideas. It's like, well, should we go with this one or this one or this one and this one? And this is where, with them being together, it's so good, because they can work together and they can weave together and they can create some fantastic stuff. But when they were separate, they couldn't really share those ideas in the same way, because if one took one of the ideas and ran with it this way, another one might take another idea and run this way, and it would be such a waste not to weave them together so that the sort of buttons and the buttonholes kind of fitted, type of a thing. And so there was a lot of kind of, oh my God, like see the eyes looking up and kind of the clock, and like, how long is this going to take? You know, because I can't. There's too many ideas to follow through on all of them. You know, and we need to, what this feminine here is saying, we need to discuss, you know, which ones shall we work with. So now that they're in reunion, you know, they're able to pick which ones. And what they'll find, you see, is that, you know, they'll maybe work on this one together, and then that will affect this one and this one. It's kind of like cogs, you know, they all start, see these cogs, they all start working together. And look, she's even got that little chain like from a clock coming out of her mouth. So she's very aware. She's been very aware of the time just sort of passing and passing and passing, and she's just sort of. When they weren't in reunion, she would sort of give them a button here and a button there, kind of thing, and think, you know, there's an awful lot more of them where they came from. So so they definitely, what makes them unique is they do go beyond the normal. Neither of them are very interested in normal. You know, in many ways they've been rescued from normal. I think that would be a fair thing. So let's see what would be the song that they would want to sing as a duet. I knew I loved you before I met you. And then this one as well. You light up my life. You see that? So I knew I loved you before I met you. It's just the depth of their love, you know? It's been there since even before they knew. And the feminine, in fact, particularly because she was kind of more in that work, in that sort of spiritual healing kind of world, which she's dragged her masculine into, whether he liked it or not, she had always had a sense that he was there, very whenever she tuned in, she didn't like to tune into the energy too much, because it was so exciting that she felt guilty, because she was already in a relationship. So she, before she'd even met him, would just feel this presence, and such a masculine, sexy kind of presence, like really strong, like way back, like we're talking maybe about 4 years ago or something like that, it first became really strong. And but she always thought, well, you know, I'll get to know you sometime in my life, but I don't know when. I don't, you know, and she certainly didn't expect it to be now, kind of thing. So so for her, there's like this relaxation. This is probably why she's more like a cat, because she's like, yeah, well, we were always supposed to be together, you know. Yeah, that's why she's been kind of almost aloof. It's like, yeah, I knew you were there, you know, I knew we were meant to be together. See, you make me feel complete. But really what the cat's saying is, you make me feel complete. Like, without you, I can't do what I'm here to do, because we're just such a good couple. And because they've done so much healing, the completion that they have is also more on this level, not just on the healing level, because they've managed to fill the holes that they had and the gaps that they had in their kind of psyche, in their heart, in their emotions, in their soul. They've had to fill in themselves, because they haven't been able to be together, and and so they've kind of helped complete each other even without being together. And that's why she's saying, I knew I loved you before I met you. So the love that they had for each other started that process of filling in the completeness for them, the sort of inner divine masculine, divine feminine. But they are in reunion in the physical, not just on the 5D. Did I shuffle? I don't think I shuffled these ones. So let's see about that reunion. Let's see how that's going then, now that they've come together very recently. It's happening a lot in the collective at the moment. It's a lot of divine feminines, divine masculines are either finding each other or they're actually coming into reunion. Yeah, and it's a lot to do with this pandemic, actually, because there's been this kind of, rebellion going on, kind of this real pushback happening, this strength. And the masculine has, the masculine in the collective at the moment, he's really finding his feet, finding his voice, finding his strength. And that's the inner masculine as well, of the feminines as well. So there's a very strong masculine active action kind of energy, but also the spiritual. And there's the flame you see as well. So the flame is burning. It's been burning for a long time. And there's this sense of breaking free as they come together. So that's one for, I'd say, the masculine. But let's see for the feminine, what's this reunion been like for the feminine? Let's see, what's this reunion been like for the feminine? Yeah, well, that's more the journey that they've been on. That's what the reunion has been. These aren't very jolly cards, are they? But for the feminine, it's been a particularly challenging in this case. But let's see if we can get something a bit jollier on the reunion. Yeah, and they're this kind of feeling that the feminine in particular has had now that they're in reunion. It's like she can just walk out the gate kind of thing. It was never locked, but. Yeah, so let's just see if there's anything in this connection that, woo! Yeah, here we go. So yeah, they're finding their source energy, they're getting connected with source energy, and they've gone through this rebirth and this transformation. So yeah, I mean, I think it's early days for them, I think there's a lot more love to be discovered, and that this is they're probably at the stage now of kind of getting to know each other, and it's kind of like, they're not going straight into all the passion and excitement. Well, there's the fire, they're both the source for each other, and the divine as well, so the divine feminine, divine masculine. But yeah, there's quite a bit to go over, there's quite a bit of how can I put it? It's obviously, they've not gone straight into this kind of magical place. There's been a little bit that they've needed to cover and get clear on, to just basically, take down the gate, take down the walls, and to have this kind of rebirth where they can be themselves and discover who they really are together as individual people, rather than two people who become exactly the same trying to please each other. So, and here we go. That was Isapogan, this one here. Hang on, it just came out. Hang on, we've got two here. Okay, we've got, ability to learn from past experiences, retrieves old or forgotten knowledge. So so that's what I think that's saying there. Maybe in the early stages of their reunion, there is a bit of, just, it doesn't have to be too heavy, but it's a bit like going from the kind of heavier to the kind of, quite kind of passionate to the kind of playful. They can't just go straight to playful. They maybe do have to go through a bit of a process to find the playful and to find the music again. Just because they're an honest pair, they want to do things with integrity and authenticity. And so, and they've got the ability to learn from their past experiences, and to to share notes on the journey, with the understanding that the challenges they've been through have meant that any mistakes that have been made have been accidental, and that they've changed since then. And then, of course, this beautiful one here, realizing that we're all one and that there's no separation. So that's the kind of vibe of this pair. that the connection was always there, and but very important that they're actually physically in union, not just on the. Did I shuffle these ones? I think I might have shuffled them. I'm not sure. Oh, that one again. That one came up yesterday. Live in the now, seize the moment. Yeah. So they're very much. I'll do it again in case I didn't shuffle them. They're very much in the moment together, and this reunion has really brought the magic back. But on the physical level, let's have a look. Yeah, listen to your heart. Yes, awaken psychic abilities. Tune into the infinite. This one came up again yesterday with the snake round the tree, which can be a little bit like strangling the growth kind of thing. You see that? So it's got that sort of Adam and Eve feeling as well, like temptations, that kind of thing as well. But the biggest challenge has been to ignore the fears and connect with the heart. And the unicorns are amazing because, they are obviously a magical being. They're mythical creatures, but the actual horn is like the steeple of a church. It acts as a conduit from heaven to earth. That's what the symbolism of the horn is for the unicorn. So you've got the combination of spirituality and horse, which is brilliant because I'm a great horse lover.